So the next thing we'll look at is the interview preparation. I'm not here to actually define these things to you. Say what is communication? Communication is passing on information from others. No, no, no. I'm not here to do those things. It's communication toolkit, isn't it? I'm just giving you some vital elements as far as these topics are concerned. So interview preparation. When we say interview is very broad. Are you getting it? Interview is very broad. We have job interviews, isn't it? And I think you actually meant job interviews, right? All right. There's an interview that you also go through when you apply to study a course at the university, isn't it? They interview you, okay? And we interview people every now and then. You are walking in town and then you met a friend. You are talking to the person. By the time you are done with the conversation, you have interviewed the person, all right? You are seeking to get some information from the person. So at the end of the day, you've actually gotten your information. All right? There are times you walk in town. And people stop you and give you some questionnaires. Isn't it? They give you some questionnaires. These things are all interviews. Oh. Those questionnaires are all interview. These things are all interview. They will tell you they are collecting data and all of that. When we had, I think the population census was done 2 years ago or so. 2 years ago, they came to your house and they were asking you these questions and all of these things are all interview. And then you watch interviews on the TV and all of that. But I think that in this context, we are limiting ourselves to the job interview. Okay? To the job interview. But these days, do people really go for interview? Wow. But it's not really intense like those days, oh. It's no more intense like those days. Those days when you are attending for an interview, it was a World Cup. It's a World Cup. Now, it's just something. Now, the first thing that you need to look out for is to prepare a killer resume. When we say a resume is your CV, okay? Your curriculum vitae. And I'm going to talk about this briefly. Now, I see a lot of people's CVs and, I become so surprised. Because the things you see on their CV is not appealing at all. Seriously. People want to write their entire life on their CV. Yes. People want to write their entire life on their CV. See somebody's CV. JHS, I was a compound overseer. My responsibilities were this and that, and then he wrote all these things. Then go to SHS. SHS, I was a sports prefect. I used to go for inter-schools. I used to do this. I was a dining hall prefect. Dining hall, what do you do? You share food there. You organize food for the students and all of that. They write almost virtually everything on their CV. And it's so boring. It's so boring. When you are applying for a job in Europe, in the US, or even you are applying for a school, you need to present your CV. Is that not the case? And look, they don't have time. No one has time to be going through all these things. Because for human resource has about thousands of CVs lying on their table. All right? And then they pick yours, and yours is about 5 leaves. 5 pages interview. For which job? What is the role you are applying for? Are we together? So there are certain things that you should totally avoid on your CV. The first thing is your religion. Religion. You should never on your CV state your religious background. You see people there, religion, Christian, Muslim. I've never seen like a traditionalist before. I'm yet to see a traditionalist. Please, totally avoid it. It's so needless. No one is interested in your religion. Seriously. What if you meet a human resource manager who is a Muslim and he or she is looking forward to recruiting only Muslims, and you state that you're a Christian? You are already disqualified. Or what if it's the vice versa? Like a Christian who is the human resource manager, and he's also looking forward to employing only Christians. You are a Muslim. It means that you're already disqualified. Are we together? Yes, you're already disqualified. So religion is the first thing that you should avoid on your CV. Are we together? Then the next one too is what? Your date of birth. Abba. Date of birth on your CV. You should avoid it at all costs. Date of birth. Take it out. The next thing, I've not even listed them here. The next thing you should also avoid. I remember we were learning something in class some time ago. It was business communication. I don't know what level 300 or so. Business communication, yeah, something like that. The lecturer was so agitated. The lady, I said, why do people do these things? When she sees these things, then she get angry. How you read these things? There's someone who go and say sex. And so sex is so male or female. What is that? Is there somebody, people write either sex, they will do it either sex or gender. Thing is very controversial. Take it off. Take it off. Totally. Are we together? Take it off. Totally. What is the next thing we should also avoid on our CV? What is the next thing we should also avoid on our CV? Your CV should be very brief. It should be straightforward. It should be very straightforward and brief. Is that okay? It should be very straightforward and brief. Don't go and write the positions you held at, those companies, all the responsibilities, everything you did. Everything you did, all your plans for the department, what you've been able to do, what you haven't been able to do. I doubt you, right? All right? Avoid these things. Your CV should be very brief. I wish we're actually projecting. I'll show you a sample of a CV. You should know the kind of job that you're applying for, the job you are vying for, and the type of CV you should. There are certain jobs that actually demand a comprehensive CV. When we say a comprehensive CV, it does not mean it should be voluminous or lengthy. All right? Your CV can be brief and yet comprehensive. So if you're applying as a CEO of a company, all right, they want to see your capabilities. They want to see your previous capabilities in your previous jobs, all right? They want to see certain initiatives that you led in your previous place of work. Is that okay? So you should know that what you are applying for is very, very important. Very, very important. So that's your resume, right? Now, you should also master your resume. You should master your CV. You should master your CV. When you sleep and wake up, you should be able to know everything on your CV. Now, the problem a lot of people have found fumbling or wanting during interview sessions is because people wrote their CVs. All right? People wrote their CV. Some people believe that as for writing, it's not their thing, or they can't write well. And so they will always, contract the services of people to write for them. So on your CV, you may not necessarily know what is on the CV. Are we together? You may not certain things that they've written there, or some of the things you don't even understand. Some of the jargons on the CV, terms over there, you may not even understand. Okay, so this is a sample, right? Okay, let's look at this one. Whose CV is this? On Google, eh? Okay, Mark Rice. Okay, so is this all? I want to see the end. Okay, it's just one page, eh? So T, this is a comprehensive CV. All right? Let's start from the top. Okay, so Mark Rice. So you see the first thing, this is how your cover page should look like. You see the name at the top there. Then what follows is the address. You see, it's very important. The address. Have you seen the religion over there? Have you seen sex over there? Yeah. And then what again? What did I even talk about? Yeah, date of birth and those things. We'll get there. Don't worry. Take your. We'll get there. Yeah, language proficiency. Yeah, languages spoken and all of that. I think it's right. Language is right because because there are certain job roles that you apply for. They are looking for people who can actually people who are multilingual. All right. So imagine you're applying for a job in Accra, okay, and the job is basically selling at the market. Can you use English to sell at the market? So if you can't speak Twi, the only language you can speak is probably English and probably Nagari or Ewe. And you are selling in the market, it's going to be very difficult. Are you getting it? So they want to know all this. So I think like language proficiency, yes, to some extent, is a very vital information. All right.
And in some cases also, people introduce nationality.
I don't think it's necessary. Nationality is not necessary. Seriously. It's not necessary. What is the nationality? What is it to do with your job? What has your nationality got to do with your job? Because you don't forget, you will be called for an interview. And every information that they want from you, they will ask you. Are you getting it? Don't go to an interview and be saying things that you've not been asked. Are you getting it? That information is only vital to you, but not to the panel. Are you getting it? Don't go and be saying things that are not needed. Things that you've not been asked, then you start saying it. No. Sometimes there are certain things you should be able to even avoid when they ask. Yes. You should be able to avoid. So you look at a professional summary, it's there. You see, conscientious civil engineer with 11 years, proven expertise, blah, 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 blah. You look at the work history, what the person has done. Have you seen it over there? The work history, and then, but what's the education? What's the person's education? Okay, so that's the last one. Okay. You see, in this case, the person has not even stated his interests or hobbies. So you see hobbies or interests too over there. Yes, so I don't think hobbies or interests is bad. All right? I think it's a vital information. Okay? So I'm a writer. I love writing. And I love reading. I love probably playing football in my next life. Are you getting it? Aha. It's not bad. It's not bad. It's a very vital information. Are you getting it? Because you see, all these things are there to actually test your critical thinking skills. Some of these things, especially if you talk about your interests or your hobbies. Actually, they are able to determine your critical thinking skills. Are you getting it? There are certain places, what you do, during your leisure time is very important to them. What do you do during your leisure time? It's very, very important to them. Yes. It's very, very important. It's only the black people that when we are so exhausted, we don't take time off to unwind. It's very, very important. You come afresh. Is that okay? So it's very, very important. It's very, very important. So I wrote here, interviews can be formal or informal. Yes. So it can be formal or informal. Okay. It's an interview where you are going to meet a panel. Okay. You're going to meet a panel. 2 people, 3 people, just 1 person. And there are others too. There are others that can be done on the phone. Okay. So these days, your interview can be conducted remotely. So you can sit in the comfort of your home and the interview will be conducted. I was interviewed a couple of times from my home. I remember when I was applying for Yali, we went to eat fufu somewhere those days. And there were 3. So we were coming in, I saw some strange number calling. And I picked the call. And then the lady started talking. I was speaking to Brian Coffee. I was like, hey. Wow. So it was very interesting. So I was walking. close to the market. So I quickly went somewhere, where there was less noise. So I could hear well. And that was the interview. She asked me if I'm ready for the interview. I said, yes, I'm ready. And we kicked off. I didn't know they would call me on that day. I was already prepared for the interview at any time. All right? That's what we should know. But the problem is that a lot of us, we want to be called before we prepare. When you think about submitting your resume or your CV, please be prepared before you send it. Because there are places, as soon as you drop your CV, you will be interviewed that minute. Are you getting it? You'll be interviewed that minute. So you should always be prepared. So I was already prepared for the interview. So it's very, very important. So the job interview you are looking at, they're actually meant to assess your preparedness for the role. So your preparedness for the role. It's not a World Cup. You should feel comfortable. Feel relaxed. Don't lose your voice. When I say don't lose your voice, I'm looking at your intonation, right? Your intonation, the texture of your voice. Don't lose it because of panic, fright, or whatsoever. Is that okay? Then I'll take you through the tips. Just some few of them. So be original as possible. When I say be original, don't fake accent. Don't fake accent. Yeah? Just speak in your local accent. Is that okay? Don't fake accent. Your fate from that interview is not dependent on how well you sound or how well you don't sound. Are you getting it? Yes. Now, know your limit. You should know your limit. Like I mentioned earlier, don't say things that you are not asked. If when you are asked about certain things, don't go on. Where were you born? So, my mother told me I was born at Kolebu, and in those days, during Rawlings regime, you already failed. Where were you born? Accra. Ghana. You don't have to go and yes. Some people will tell you the main hospital and the time, everything. Information is not. Are we together? So know your limit. Then be open. Being open tells your honesty. When I say be open, there are certain things they will ask you. You may not really have an idea. Just be open. Be open about it. All right? Sometimes some of us don't like defeat. So when you ask us something that we don't really understand, we'll still try to say something. And it's very wrong. Okay? People want to know. See, when we're talking about corporate sector, people are so interested in your honesty. So if you ask a question that you don't understand, just say, you don't have an idea on this. After all, you are not supposed to be all-knowing. You can't know everything. You see? You can't know everything. So if you ask a question that you don't understand, don't go and just be open. Be very, very open. Then the last one I wrote here is always be at the safer side. Always be at the safer side. And I will explain why. I will explain why. Now, what not to do? What not to do? These are the tips that I've given. Now, what not to do? Now, avoid clothes, shoes, necklaces, or jewelries you haven't worn or fitted before. I'm saying avoid it. The reason is that you should be very comfortable in everything you are wearing to the interview. Normally, you buy a new shoe. You know, when you buy a new shoe, sometimes it's sort of like it hurts your feet. From the beginning, it hurts your feet. Is that not the case? I know that for us as guys, but I don't know for the ladies. Is it not the same? It's worse, eh? So yes, you see, and then you go and wear even clothes that you've not worn before for the very first time. You wear the thing and then, Charlie, you're not too comfortable in the thing. Sometimes when you buy clothes, you have to wear it for some time before you will really be comfortable, right? But on the day, you've already planned that this is what you are wearing, and you've already ironed these things. And then on the day, you are going and then you wear it, the pants is so tight, it's not comfortable, the shoe is worse, you know, the necklace is scratching somewhere, your earring is... I mean, just try and avoid all of these things. Okay? Just try and avoid. That's why I say always be on the safer side. Okay? If you have not fitted it before, please don't try. If you have not fitted it before, please don't try. So some people can go to the shop, they go and buy clothes and other things. Maybe they'll just, some of them don't even try. They don't even do anything. So they can just look at it and know that this thing is very, very, it's very dangerous when you are wearing these things to an interview. Is that okay? And then the last one that I wrote here is avoid high-scented perfumes. I'm ending on this. High-scented perfumes. Now, you see, in the corporate world, high-scented, you are not even supposed to wear perfume. Yes, in the first place. Yes, it's unprofessional. It's unprofessional to wear this high-scented perfume too. It's not professional. Are you getting it? Now, the reason is this. You are going to meet somebody, probably. Imagine meeting a boss who is asthmatic. Are you getting it? Obviously, such a person doesn't want to get into contact with perfume at all. So when you are coming close to such a person wearing a perfume, the person will just show you away. Are you getting it? Now, this happened to me before. I am allergic to high-scented stuff. That is why you don't even hear any perfume on me. No. I don't wear perfume. Okay. Maybe the whole year I can wear maybe once or twice. Right? And normally, I don't even buy perfume. These ones will probably be gifts. When I try once or two, I spit out. I've never used a perfume from it. Are you getting it? Guy came. So I'm very allergic to high scent stuff. So this guy came to the office, and then this guy came. Perfume this guy was wearing, but it was very terrible. Very, very hair. Instantly my mood changed, everything around me changed. So what he was coming to do, I asked him to, yes, because he was really going to worry me. He had stayed for like 5 minutes to worry me. It was so high. So high. You see, so you go and meet somebody, you may go and meet a panel, you may not know who will like perfume or who will not like perfume. Are you getting my point? You may not know who will like perfume or who will not like perfume. If you meet a panel who likes perfume and you are not wearing perfume, there's no cause for alarm. Are you getting it? If you meet a panel that doesn't like perfume and you are not wearing perfume, no cause for alarm. Are you getting my point? You may not know who will like the perfume or who will not like it, which is why you must always be the safer side. That's why I put that point at the last. Always be at the safer side. And this is, like I mentioned earlier, this is tacit knowledge. Are you getting it? It's tacit knowledge. So people respond to these things in different ways. In different ways. So don't go and commit yourself. I'm begging you. I'm really begging you. It shouldn't even be the basis for which somebody is employed or should be employed. I think that Employing somebody should be based on competencies, the person's skills, the person's capabilities, and the person's qualification. Is that not the case? And in this case, there are certain things that play a major role than even your skills or your competence. Are you getting what I'm saying? There are so many things that play major role than those things. Yes. Somebody is very intelligent, very, very intelligent, but the person doesn't present his or herself well. So you are not appealing enough to be employed by anybody. You are very intelligent, first class student, but you are not appealing enough. There are people, when they appear, you just want to have something to do with them. You see, when you just look at them, at the moment they appear, you just want to have something to do with them. Are you getting it? Yes. You just want to have something to do with them. Which is why with these marketing sales or marketing managers, normally when you are meeting investors or prospective investors in a serious meeting, they don't just send anybody there. No. You don't just send anybody there. Sure, even the secretary that's following the boss crowd, forget. You look at the person that look already. So it's not a joke. It's not a joke. So we must always be at the safer side. We must always be at the safer side. In case you want to wear perfume, in case you are so addicted to perfume, I think you should use the mild ones. When I say mild, you understand, right? It's not loud. There are perfumes you use, it's not loud, but you feel good. But because there are people who feel so good when they wear perfume. So get those mild ones. It shouldn't be so loud. Is that okay with you? I think that will be the end. Then I think the last thing on the is I think LinkedIn.